Hello and welcome to the No Balls podcast. I'm your host Patrick McDonald with me co-host Sheldon Kaufman. Today we are doing the Golden State Warriors off-season recap and preseason predictions episode. If you don't know how this works, we do all 30 teams and give them their own full-length episode, ultimately ending in a full 30-team prediction episode, which will be the next episode. We are on the last team of the 30 teams. This is quite epic. We've gone through 2 years of this now. Before we get started, Sheldon has a Warriors related trivia question. We'll see if I can get it. I don't know what my shooting percentage is for this division, but it should be pretty good.
Yeah, you've been on a heater recently, Pat. Hopefully this puts a bump in the road. In Game 3 of the 2007 playoffs with the Golden State Warriors taking on the Utah Jazz, which player famously dunked over Andrei Kirilenko to cap off a blowout victory in Game 3?
Okay. I might be crazy mistaken, but I'm pretty sure this is just Baron Davis. It's one of the most popular clips of his career, right?
That is correct. That is correct. It is Baron Davis.
Okay.
Pretty cool dunk. Pretty cool dunk.
Pretty sick dunk, actually. We should
Yeah,
find some way to
really
feature
slammed.
that.
Yeah,
Sure, we
slammed
could.
it. That could be the outro. That could be the outro.
Yeah, we'll make it the outro. I'll actually go ahead and pull it up so I don't forget about it. But we will go ahead and get started on the 25 Warriors, because that was 1 year before Steph Curry entered the NBA, and now Steph Curry is an old man, and he led the 2025 Golden State Warriors to 48-34, seventh in the Western Conference. Their expected record of 49-33 was 10th in the NBA. Their 10th rated SRS at a 3.56. If you don't know how that works, SRS is opponent adjusted net rating. How well did you play against your opponents? Warriors were pretty good. At home, they were 24-17. Same thing on the road. 28-27 pre-All-Star break is pretty poor compared to a 20-7 post-All-Star break heater that they went on. Versus the Eastern Conference, they were 19-11. Versus the Western Conference, they were 29-23. In clutch games, they were 25-20, but their negative 1.1 net rating in clutch games was 17th. For a little bit more context, I believe they lost almost every clutch game before Jimmy Butler got there, and then it completely flipped. Obviously, that's a little bit of an exaggeration, but I don't know how far off from an exaggeration it was. I think they did a complete 180 in clutch games once they traded for Jimmy Butler. What stood out the most to you about the 2025 Golden State Warriors?
Yeah, Pat, definitely an interesting year. Had some struggles early on, but like you said, once they traded for Jimmy Butler, like the talk of the town was how good he was making this Warriors team. Like every time you watch a Warriors game on ESPN, all they would show is like the insane record that they had since Jimmy Butler. I'm pretty sure they were undefeated for like a very long stretch of games whenever Jimmy Butler joined the team. So obviously you can tell by that 20-7 post All Star break number that was huge for them acquiring Jimmy. And I mean, what a playoffs for them going up against a young Rockets team who, I mean, some people were writing them off and they end up winning 7 games. Incredible performances by Curry. I mean, it was just amazing to see. Curry ends up getting hurt during that Timberwolves series. They end up losing, so there's a lot left. There's a lot I think the Warriors want to get back this season, falling short last season. But pretty good season, I would say. And now you have Jimmy Butler and Steph Curry getting a full off season together, a full year together. There's a lot of interesting things we could see with this Warriors team. Also, Draymond had a really great defensive performances. I mean, he was being talked about as for defensive player of the year down the stretch of the season, and his play really helped them because he played a great small ball five, which they would go to a lot.
I think as well, you talked about the playoffs. We very much believed in the Warriors, but we both picked the Rockets, and I don't think either of us really believed in the Rockets. It's just we thought it was a rough matchup. And I will get into some of the Warriors things because this was not what you would quite expect out of a Golden State Warriors team. If you had to guess before we get into their offense, what do you think their best play type was in the offense, and where do you think their offense ranked?
Their best play type. I would say their offense probably around like 14, 13, or kind of that range. The high teens. Um, Best play type off of our categories on the next list.
Yeah.
Uh, maybe ball handler. Ball roller, pick and roll roller.
Well, we will get into it. You almost nailed it. It was 15th in offensive rating at a
Ooh.
115, 14th in turnover rate, fourth in offensive rebound rate, and then 17th in pace. And if you look at the play type wise, they were 27th or 25th in isolation efficiency, 27th in pick and roll ball handler efficiency was actually their worst. Um, 23rd in roller efficiency, 22nd in post up efficiency, and then 14th in transition efficiency. They were not very good at really anything on offense, which is not what you would expect, but they did kind of like play like a zombie team for a large percentage of the season. They were the highest off screen team in the league this past season, and then the highest cutter team throughout the league this
Yeah,
past season.
yeah,
And they weren't great in those areas, but there was such a high percentage of them. And as in the 31st percentile as a cutter team, they're going to have 1.27 points per possession. So that's why they can boost up their numbers here a little bit, despite everything that we display not being good. They ran more cuts and off-screen action than isolation, and those are just more efficient plays.
yeah. Pat, you bring up great points there. They're cutting. They did it a lot. They had success with it. Like eventually, like you said, if you do it enough times, you are going to get a lot of results. Um, and yeah, looking at the chart right now, not a lot of good things, but I think they did a lot of things that aren't at the chart, that are not on the chart, very effectively, or at least more efficiently than numbers on the chart, which allowed them to have a pretty decent offense. And like you said, this offense was crazy with the screening, off ball, getting guys open, and getting guys open cutting too, off ball screens, just to get easy buckets or easy 3-point attempts, wide open. Which when you have some of the shooters that they have is definitely an advantage. And they're really good in rebounding. They're okay in pace. So yeah, not turning the ball over at a high rate. They do the good things like well enough to make them a pretty decent offense, even though if like the typical things that we see aren't ran well.
Yeah, I knew that they weren't a good offense. Not a good offense. I just knew they were like closer to average offensively, but I didn't expect them to not be good at anything that we look at and then also not run anything that we look at. And, efficiency wise, 31st percentile in cuts doesn't sound great, but like they're running it way more than everybody else. And like, they're above like the bottom of the pack. There's a good chunk from like 25th to about 8th that is like separated by zero point 0.1 points per attempt. So like, it's not like a huge difference. And then, same thing off screens. Like they're getting a ton of stuff off screens. I think they were pretty high frequency and spot up as well. Like there were a lot of just really fun Warriors things, and I'll just speak on their offense, and we can get into scheme, of course. But I thought the three-man pairing of Jimmy Butler, Draymond Green, and Steph Curry was peak basketball. Um, like they just synergize so well on offense. There's like probably that's the highest three-player basketball intelligence trio of all time, probably. I mean, LeBron and Rondo are probably they could probably heavy lift whoever the third highest guy on that team was pretty highly. But I mean, Steph Curry, Draymond, and Jimmy Butler is like, geez, like we're in the honors college of basketball intelligence right here. Like this is insane. Um, you want to move forward to their defense.
Yeah, let's go ahead.
you'll see a little bit more green on this slide. Um, Seventh in defensive rating. You mentioned Draymond Green being talked about mainly by himself as the defensive player of the year, but he was, you know, when he started talking about himself, he did back it up with his play. I think his play was pretty subpar, not subpar, but just like sub defensive player of the year caliber for a large part of the season, and then he like played like he was 28 again, and that, if you do not know how good 28-year-old Draymond Green was, go figure it out because it was insane. Fourth in forcing turnovers, eighth in defensive rebound percentage, ninth in isolation defense, sixth in ball handler defense, 11th in roller defense, 26th in post up defense. That's their Achilles heel. It was only 3% of possessions though, and then fifth in transition defense at 109, which is pretty great. Nobody ran against them. Ton of isolation, fifth highest frequency there. No pick and rolls ran against them. They were such a good team. And keep in mind, they had a small ball center. They still didn't struggle to rebound the basketball. What was the takeaways for their defense?
Yeah, Pat. I mean, you mentioned it. They're doing all the good things right. They're having a high efficient or high frequency of isolation plays being ran. They're defending it well. Teams aren't running pick and roll against them because it's hard to put in a pick and roll against when you have Draymond as the center. Like we talked about how good Draymond was. His ability to cover screen coverages, I mean, is really good. You talk about a great defensive mind in Draymond Green, and even when Quentin Post was out there, he also did a good job of holding his own against those rollers. So I think that just speaks to some of the guys they have are just so intelligent on defense. We talk about Jimmy Butler as well, and you have guys that are able to switch, like they're able to switch their matchups when it comes to the screens, which just really makes it hard to even score against them. And then you talk about the transition stuff. Like not only are teams not getting out against you, but you're one of the best teams in the league and defending the transition. So if you want to score on this Warriors team, it's going to be extremely hard. And they did a great job of doing it. And like you said, the fact that they had a small ball center for a majority of their games, they still were the top 10 in the defense and rebounding, which is really important. And they created a lot of turnovers. So Steve Kerr knew what he was doing scheme wise, and he also had the players to run it well.
Just like so I can hopefully hammer home the value of Draymond Green defensively. And this is calling back 3 years, but I think a lot of this still applies today. Do you remember who Draymond Green primarily guarded in the 2022 finals against the Celtics?
Was it uh, was it Jalen Brown?
It was Jaylen Brown. Large reason they did that was because Klay Thompson was old and washed and can't, slide on
Not the
defense
lockdown
anymore.
defender he could be.
Yeah, I mean, he just can't slide on defense. He was still like pretty decent though, in 2022, 23. Um, but he couldn't slide on defense anymore, and he was still physical enough to like guard Al Horford. So Draymond Green was like guarding Jaylen Brown, sort of treating him like a non-shooter, but also like has the recovery tools and the intelligence of when to recover and how to correctly recover to him. And it just like completely stalled out the Celtics offense in that finals. And large part of that series, not all of it, but a good part of that series, like they were playing Draymond at the five. And that was like super awesome then. It's super awesome now. If you want to see the best defensive player of the last 20 years, probably you go back and watch like peak Draymond Green defensively because that is as good as it gets, I think. Like he's such an awesome player. We'll see how much longer he has. We'll see if he even, wants to keep playing. He might retire and join us here on the No Balls podcast. I feel like it is definitely what?
So we welcome him with open arms.
Yeah. He needs a bigger platform to speak his voice. Um, that's definitely what everybody's always said about Draymond. Do you have anything on their defense that you want to touch on before we move forward?
Now let's go ahead and move forward.
Team scheme and coaching staff. Head coach is Steve Kerr. General manager is Mike Dunleavy Jr. New assistant coach here, Steve Kerr's son. That's all I'm gonna say. Um,
Oh, okay, okay.
um, his first name is Nicholas, so but it's a shorter version. Is what his common name is. Assistant coach Chris Weems and Ron Adams have been there forever. I think Ron Adams, since Steve Kerr took over, do you have a guess of what year that was?
Oh, sorry. Say one more time.
The first Steve Kerr year in Golden State. I think he's the longest tenured coach.
Oh, 2012, 2013.
2014-15. He's the
Oh,
second longest behind Spo. So
wow.
my fault, Spo. Uh, yeah, how do we feel about Steve Kerr as a coach? I know he's become somewhat controversial over the past couple seasons, but what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, we already talked a lot about it already in the offensive part of this segment, but I mean, a lot of motion on this offense. A lot of off ball screens to get the shooters open for threes. Guys like Buddy Hield, guys like Curry, guys that thrive getting open opportunities. Moses Moody as well. Cutters were moving to the basket a lot. Like there was a lot of off ball screens, and every time they set it, they would roll to the basket as well, looking for opportunities. We talked about how much their cutter percentage was um, just a little bit earlier. Guys are driving dribble penetration, getting to the bucket, and then kicking out to open shooters for three. Especially when you would have Quinn and Post out there, and even Draymond too, guys that can stretch the floor. So you have around like 3 to 4 shooters sitting there open for threes. He did a really good job of making sure that would happen. Guys are always relocating to the spots. If there's an open spot as a defender drives in, a space that needs to be filled, someone's going to be there. Uh, and then whenever they got Jimmy Butler, I think Jimmy Butler like just added such a different dynamic to their offense because he was a guy that could go isolation on you and draw fouls. He attempted seven. Oh, I don't know why I said it twice, but he attempted 7 free throws a game last season. He's a guy that could get like late game opportunities. He's a guy that would get to the free throw line and convert for you and put a game away really. And I think that dynamic is what really changed him. And that's why you got to shout out to Mike Dunleavy Jr. Really good job of getting him at the trade deadline. Although Andrew Wiggins was really good for them, I think Jimmy Butler just like elevated their game, and we saw it happen. So the proof is in the pudding. Yeah,
I'll give you credit. You were much more into the Jimmy Butler trade than I was at the time. I was a little skeptical about how much better Jimmy Butler was going to be than what Andrew Wiggins was giving in them. It was so much better because the synchronization that he instantly had with Draymond Green and Steph Curry was like it was awesome. Like it was so awesome. And you mentioned the free throw scoring, like it was a huge part of the Warriors offense when Steph would go to the bench because they have something that can give them reliable offense. We went into the year talking about who was going to be the second leading scorer last year between Brandon Pajemski, Jonathan Kuminga, and Trace Jackson Davis. Like quite
that's rough. That's rough.
quite ridiculous, to say the least. Yeah, I think there's some fairness that like Steve Kerr's system is not very like every player friendly, and I think that can be that probably holds some truth. But you're playing with Steph Curry and Draymond Green, who are all-time great players, and the system is going to be built around those guys and their skill sets and to maximize their impact on the floor. I don't think people realize how good the 2016 to 17, 18 Warriors were. Like they were generationally good, and everybody knows it's because the talent they had. But how many super teams have we seen form in the years coming, or super teams, right? How many super teams have we seen that just like fall flat and aren't a 70 win team automatically? They were such a good team. They were really well coached. It's carried over on into the past, even if you can have some criticisms about how he's implemented a former seventh overall pick, who we'll discuss what his role in his weird adjustment has been. I think you can argue that he is helping or hurting his case. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think he's a good coach. I think we're kind of overthinking it a little bit. The Team USA stuff, I think, was also very unfairly leveraged against Steve Kerr. Um, he also just, like you look back, like this was Steph Curry was the perfect player for him. He played just like Steph's dad as a player, and at the same time, him and Steph have basically the same name. And if Steph wasn't his dad or Steve Kerr as a player, he was like those guys as shooters, and then also like had a mix of Steve Nash in there, who Steve Kerr was the general manager for the Steve Nash Suns. I think later in the career, not the whole time, but yeah. Dunleavy, do we want to talk about Dunleavy? He took over in 2024, I think, that calendar year. Um,
Yeah, I already said shout out to him for the Jimmy Butler trade. I think that took a lot of balls and he got it done. And Jimmy Butler was a hard guy to trade for because Miami wanted a lot of things, and the fact that he was able to get like just the perfect trade gone or trade cooked up speaks a lot to him. And Brandon Pajinski, a guy that he drafted, looking pretty good. Had a pretty good second year. Struggled a little bit in the first half, but ended up shooting the ball pretty well from the 3 point line. Contributed. So yeah, he's doing a pretty good job so far, I would say.
yeah, and I think Pod's is one of his only draft picks. I think he didn't draft Kaminga. He didn't draft. He might have drafted Chase Jackson. He drafted Trace Jackson Davis, Quentin Post, and I believe that might be it. And obviously the guys we're gonna get into next. We'll go ahead and get into those guys. Will Richard and Alex Tui. What stood out to me right away with these guys, two of the last five picks in the draft. So we'll temper our expectations a little bit. But did you have anything on either of these guys that you wanted to shout out?
Uh, yeah, we can start with Will Richard because he's definitely probably the more known player of the two. Played at Florida last year. 6'4", um, averaged 13 points per game, 4 rebounds, shot 35% from the 3 point line and 48% from the field goal or from the field. Uh, I mean, things I like about him is the shooting. Like I said, 35% in college. Um, Especially if they can work on him a little bit just to make it more consistent. I think that just adds another small guard that can shoot and move well to your bag. Like you already have Curry and Buddy Hield. Add him in. Those are two great guys to learn from, especially Curry. And he has some good athleticism. He's able to finish at the rim well. He'll be great in cut opportunities. So um, yeah, not a bad pickup at all.
Yeah, he was involved in the Kevin Durant trade. Or not he was, Alex Tui was. I was reading his basketball reference page. Yeah, Will Richard, like, he college champion. They haven't drafted many like multiple year guy like NBA ready type of players. He's got good size for like a scoring guard. You'd like to see the facilitating be more of a part of his game, especially coming into Golden State, where he will probably be asked to make a couple reads, or he'll just be a guy who catches and shoots the ball. Like there's also possibility of that. As more of like an off-ball player, his sophomore year at Florida, he was nearly a 40% shooter. He's hovered around 35, 36 in the year since, where he was more of a creator. I'm interested what Steve Kerr can do with this guy. I mean, it's like he wouldn't be the worst player. Not the worst player, but he is on an NBA contract is what I was trying to go with, and like he will probably get some chances in the NBA this season. So I'm interested in what they'll get out of him. Alex Tui, Australian player, on a two-way contract, 6'8", I'll be honest, didn't know much about this guy. Figured out he was in the Kevin Durant trade. Uh, Warriors traded a pick in the draft here. Um, you take a guess which player it was. I think it's just kind of interesting.
Oh, did sorry you lagged a little bit. Did you ask me something?
The Warriors traded a draft pick in this draft. Like, which player do you think it was that got drafted this year? There's a second rounder.
Kobe Bryant.
How did you? What?
Am I right?
Oh, yeah. How did you get that? It's because it was in the Durant trade. Is that how?
No, no, I just knew.
Damn. Okay.
Come on.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah. My
I'm ready.
apologies.
I'm ready today. I'm ready today.
I was not familiar with your game.
I
Holy
had to
shit.
come ready for the last episode. Come on now,
Jeez. Okay.
Pat.
Well, I don't have much on Alex Tui. He's a plus size. I'm pretty sure he's more of a forward player.
Yeah.
Do you have anything, Alex Tui?
I mean, I think he can provide like a good option rolling to the rim. Did pretty good at cutting in the NBL. I think that's what they call it, right? NBL league in Australia.
Yes.
Um, yeah, good finisher. He finished well above the rim, and he has ability to shoot the three. Shot like 31%, and had good free throw shooting. So you're getting a forward that can roll well and shoot. That's always something good to have. But don't have. That's pretty much all I really got on him.
Positive assist to turnover ratio. It's a
Love
good sign.
that.
Yeah. On a two-way, so we'll see how he contributes if he does at all. He could catch on and get a roster spot at some point. We'll have to see. We will quickly move forward unless you have anything else. Trades and free agents. They signed Seth Curry to an Exhibit 10 contract, D'Anthony Melton to a league minimum, Al Horford to 11 over 2, Tavion Kinsley, EJ Cryer, and Marquise Bolden to Exhibit 10 contracts. What's the notables here for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think I thought I was muted. You hear me?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. Um, the obvious one is Al Horford, right? A longtime Bostonian, um, for a couple stints. Averaged 9 points per game last season off of 36% shooting from three. So the big man can still shoot the ball, and he honestly played like good enough defense in the Brad Stevens or the not Brad Stevens, the Joe Mazzulla defensive scheme last season. Was able to hold his own, and I mean, you're getting legit center now if you're Golden State. Like even though this is like about to retire Al Horford, he's still like a really great vet big and like can set screens. He can still shoot the ball. Obviously, he doesn't have all the athleticism that he used to, but uh, average 6 rebounds per game. So he's a guy that can get you boards, a guy that Quentin Post can learn from a season. I like it, and now you can have Draymond play the four, and that just opens up a lot for your defense, I think. And you still have the option to go Draymond at the five. So I think that's a really solid pickup, and you got him for 2 years too. So yeah,
Yeah. Al Horford is still like really, really good. And as the president of the Al Horford is underrated fan club, he never left Boston. I don't know what this tomfoolery is about a Philadelphia 76ers and an OKC Thunder stint. He just played 10 years in Boston. Um, like you said, he can still start at center for you. He can shoot the ball. He's smart. He can rebound well enough. He can defend well enough. You're not going to give Al Horford the ball in the post anymore. Those years are way past. But he's a good role playing center and gives them like Quentin Post can't really get by defensively in the NBA as of yet. Al Horford can. And it allows him to go in a 5-out look with like a true center out there. And I think that's really valuable for their team. Um, D'Anthony Melton too. Like he was on the team last year, tore his ACL, and was instantly traded for Dennis Schroeder, who did not finish the year on the team. Um, it was just a required step in his NBA rainbow journey. So shout out to Dennis Schroeder. He's now the second. He became the second player to achieve it. Russell Westbrook has joined him today as the third player to complete the NBA rainbow uh, challenge. So shout out to Dennis Schroeder and Russell Westbrook, newest Sacramento King. Uh, D'Anthony Melton's really good still, or he was pretty good last season. He can defend, he can pass the ball well enough, and he can shoot the ball well enough. And he's been pretty injury prone throughout his career, and that's been his real issue. But for a league minimum, D'Anthony Melton is awesome. We love D'Anthony Melton here. There's not a single bad player that we love. Jared Butler scored 31 yesterday, so um, yeah, we if we like a player, they are obviously NBA
So good.
starter, should get 40 minutes a game. Yeah, do you have anything on Melton or Seth Curry? I guess
Um, yeah, I mean, Melton played good last season. Gives you a good guard, backup option. Seth Curry, did he play last season? Did he even play last season?
I saw him in person.
Oh, for the Hornets, that's right.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, I mean, he can still shoot it. LJ Cryer. Hopefully, he gets a spot. I like LJ Cryer a lot. Rookie, rookie from Houston last season. He was shooting pretty well in the preseason/summer league. Had a game against Portland where he had 14 points in 12 minutes and shot 3 for 3 from the 3 point line. Pretty good guard that can shoot, play good defense, and is also crafty, get into the bucket. Uh, Former Baylor player too, so gotta always shout out the Bears. So yeah, hopefully he gets a spot.
yeah, I did look at him for the draft this year. Did have some stuff on him. I think he's like somebody who could catch on. The shot's good enough. We'll see with LJ Cryer. Probably will be in the G League for the entire year, unless a team, has Memphis Grizzlies type season, and they need to sign a bunch of guys, which will happen. But we'll move to their losses. Kevin Knox goes to the Bulls. Kevon Looney goes to the Pelicans to save Jordan Poole from no screen setting. And Braxton Key goes to the Grizzlies. Teron Armstrong is currently unsigned. Obviously, the big win here is Kevon Looney. Kevin Knox playing a lot for the Warriors last year is like, yep, that tells you about the pre-Jimmy Warriors. What do you think?
Yeah, shout out Kevin though. He's been in the league for mad long, considering
How
like
bad
how
he
his
is.
career went.
Yeah, he was somebody who like was tracking to be done after the rookie contract, and he's kind of like played his best couple years the past year or two, and like you can squint and see a respectable player with Kevin Knox. It's just you have to really squint to see it, and he's on an Exhibit 10, I think, with the Bulls now. So maybe he'll, it's the Bulls are not beating the "we love terrible wings" allegations. They love terrible wings. RJ Barrett, next Chicago Bull confirmed. Um, but only slightly jokingly there. Um, yeah, obviously, Kevon Looney's the big one here. He's a big part of their championship teams. Great rebounder, great screen setter. It's gonna hurt to lose him, but they bring in Al Horford, who's a better player. Yeah, I mean anything on else?
Nah, you mentioned it. Kevon Looney is probably the biggest one. Um, yeah, I mean, great screen shredder, really good rebounder, and it's been on the team for a very long time. But I think Al Horford just provides a different dynamic, and they'll be okay. They'll be okay.
Biggest discrepancy between high school mixtape and play style in the NBA ever. Kevon Looney. Um, it's like an awesome wing shooter as a prospect. And then I think he had a torn ACL before he even played in college or something. And then, I mean, just such a grinder to get to where he is today. And he's made ton of money in his NBA career. Shout out to Kevon Looney. Here is their cap sheets. You got Big Steph up there for 2 more seasons, along with Jimmy and Draymond Green. Um, Jonathan Kuminga, the stalemate has ended. We'll talk about that in the new lineup section. What we think about that stalemate. He signed for just under 67, no, not 67, 47 million over 2 seasons. As I got you making sure you're listening there.
Oh,
Moses,
I'm locked in, Todd. Don't worry.
yeah,
I heard it. I heard it.
I might ask you another question here, and you'll probably nail it since you got the Kobe Bryant question. Um, Moses Moody, Buddy Hield, they're in these mid-range contracts, along with Al Horford, who signed for the MLE. Then rookie and league minimums. Notable here, Buddy Hield's contract not guaranteed beyond this season. I think even for this season it was non-guaranteed, but they guaranteed him the full amount. Shout out to Buddy Hield. I think he has the second or third longest consecutive games played streak currently. I think it obviously is Mikal Bridges. Then I believe it's either Buddy Hield or Jalen Green has played like almost 200 consecutive games. So shout outs to those guys. You got anything you want to talk about cap wise here?
Um, yeah. I mean, it's. I think it's pretty obvious that this is a like Curry. You know, you got Curry, you got Jimmy Butler, and Draymond. Those are your pretty much highest paid players besides Jonathan Kaminga. Um, and those are like your three best players and low key your whole team. So I think the rebuild process, or not rebuild, or reconstruction, or just like how they're going to survive the post Curry era is going to be very interesting. Also, the post Draymond and even post Jimmy Butler era, because who knows? I mean, who knows with Jimmy? Like he hops around a lot of teams. So um, don't know if he'll come back in that 2027 season, but this is going to be a team that's going to be hungry because they know that they're going to be done soon.
Surprisingly, this is only the fifth Jimmy Butler team. In my brain, I was thinking it's more, but I think the guy you would apply that to is Buddy Hield, right? I think he's played on like 6 teams now in slightly less time. Um, see, because he had Pelicans, Kings, uh, Pacers. There was another team, 76ers, Warriors. So he's only 5 as well. Shout out to Buddy Hield. Here's their fanspo. This is before the season. If you look next year, like, not going to have luxury or cap. They're probably not going to have cap space or luxury space. Especially because part of that requires Draymond Green to opt out. I don't think they'll quite have that. They're kind of pigeonholed for the next 2 years, but extremely flexible going forward. Lineup data. I left it here. I kept it pretty simple. With Jimmy, Draymond, and Steph, they were a plus 8.5 in 455 minutes. With Moody and Pods out there, they were a plus 10 and plus 15 respectively, in around 300 minutes in each of those samples. They were plus 525 with Buddy Hield on the floor, and then with Quentin Post, they were minus almost 11 in 76 minutes. The 5-man lineup with the big three with Pods and Moody in 210 minutes was a plus 18.22. So that was their lineup that did it in for teams. Absolutely killed people, led them to winning every game. It felt like, um, most important thing to take away from that, really good shooting around these guys, like frickin' worked. And yeah, I mean, you got anything else to make out of that?
No, I think you nailed it on the head there, and it's crazy. I felt like Post wouldn't have such a negative, but obviously he does. But it was only in 76 minutes, so maybe more minutes better for him. But yeah, have the shooting around these guys, and things will work out very well, as you can see.
I think the thing to think about with Post is, weirdly enough, Brandon Pajemski's a better rebounder than him. Um, a lot of the time that was this like trade-off they were making, and doing that just puts a worse defender on the floor with Quentin Post. So yeah, that would be that. Or like with Moody, it would be like Moody would take a lot of primary matchups for them last season. Um, One other tidbit: Draymond Green +7 net rating. It was pretty like great for everybody on the team except Jonathan Kuminga and Dennis Schroeder, um, and Kyle Anderson. Uh, Kuminga, it was still a +2.8. And then with Schroeder, it was a -6.8. And then with Kyle Anderson, it was a -3. So those guys are no longer on the squad. Non-shooters next to Draymond was not the move. That's why I was concerned about Jimmy Butler, but Jimmy Butler is such a good basketball player that it just kind of doesn't matter because him and Draymond Green, they have like, they're telepathic together. They know exactly where to be at all times. It's quite awesome. Here's the new lineups. Most notable here, Will Richard is playing center. Draymond Green has, or not Draymond, Steve Kerr has enforced 6'5" shooting guard Will Richard to play center.
Oh, that's a good move. I like that.
Yeah. Um, I just completely forgot to move him. But yeah, Quinn Post, Trace Jackson Davis are also backup centers. The starting lineup I came away with. Of course, I forget to talk about the starting lineup, but we're talking about Will Richard. Um, Steph Curry, Brandon Pajemski, Jimmy Butler, Draymond Green, and Hal Horford is your starting lineup that we're projecting. I would assume this is what they're going to do. What do you think?
Yeah, I like it. I like having Pod starting over like Buddy Heald potentially. I think that he provides like more efficient shooting, maybe better shots, and a different aspect with like the driving ability and the defense as well. You got Jimmy out there, you got Steph, Draymond. I mean, you got those three guys out there, and then you could throw in Al Horford too. So he also gives you great veteran. Like this is just such a veteran team, and also they can space the floor with this for sure. Like the only non-shooter on there is Draymond. Oh shoot, and yeah, and Draymond can shoot the ball a little bit, like nothing crazy. He can maybe search for it, but also you could have Draymond setting the screens while those guys all are sitting in the corner waiting for the ball. So I really like this lineup because you get a lot of defense and you also get a good bit of offense too.
Yeah, I just really like it. You get smart players, Podziemski, Al Horford, who can shoot and move the ball. I think that's going to be the key for them. A thing to watch for is like how do they handle teams with like really good, on ball players? Will they make lineup changes? Steve Kerr made like a million lineup changes in that Rocket series. So like I would assume in certain matchups they're just going to just have Al Horford come off the bench in the regular season and they'll start either Melton or Moody. Um, yeah. Norman Powell has made his way onto this, I believe, as well. Shout out to Norman Powell. Uh, last episode,
Are you trying to hint at some trades you're going to be making for the in our 2K league?
ooh, I'm surprised this hasn't come up yet. Yes, I am taking control of the Golden State Warriors. Kaminga, his salary would probably go straight into Norman Powell. Um, that would be a legal trade. I don't know. Maybe. Was not in the plans, but it's something I might have to look into for sure. Um, Geez, anything about these role players that you want to mention here?
Um, I mean, yeah, sure, why not? Buddy Hield had another pretty good season. Started off an absolute heater. Obviously, started to cool down. And still shot 37% from the 3 point line. So he's still showing that he can do it. And he played in all 82 games. So, shout out to Buddy Hield there. Uh, they still got Gary Payton. You know how he's going to come in there and just be a menace on defense. Santos looked pretty good last season at certain points, so he's also a guy that can give you something. It's in Kaminga. We got to talk about Kaminga, the whole fiasco in the offseason. I'm sure that you can provide a lot more insight into that, but man, just let him play because when he actually got some leash, he looked damn good. 15 points per game off 30% shooting, 45% from the field, and 4.6 rebounds. Let him play. His cutting ability was really amazing, and also his ability to finish inside the arc was really good.
Yeah, I've made my statement that I actually think Guy Santos is pretty good. Uh, I think he's somebody who can just kind of play in an NBA rotation. Buddy Hield, Moody, Melton, Gary Payton, like all of those guys are legit players. Do they have a ton of size? Maybe not, but that's what they have, four centers for. Well, three centers, because Will Richards not technically a center. Draymond Green will count as the fourth center. And then like Jimmy Butler and Draymond can is enough size for a playoff series. Like they just played the Houston Rockets who their thing was playing two centers and they won a playoff series against them with that as their front court. Um, Kaminga is like the ultimate wild card, and we'll just have to see. His contract stalemate was, I think, pretty self-enforced. I think the Warriors never really changed their offer to Jonathan Kaminga throughout the year. It was a 2-year team option for a round 24 season. Kaminga wants to start. He wants to get the ball a ton. Um, I think he needs to realize he's on a team with the arguable best offensive player of all time. Um, and you're not gonna get number one option opportunities. Like not everybody is Josh Giddey and can be the 60th best player in the league and be the best offensive player on their team. It's just not the case. Um, Unfortunately, there was not really much avenue for the Warriors to find another team for Kaminga. The only teams interested were the Suns and the Kings. And we recently did the Suns and the Kings. Oh, we haven't really had great things to say about their decision making over the past couple seasons. Now they do both have two, like their GMs were spending their first offseason as GMs for both of those teams. But those were the only teams interested in Jonathan Kaminga. Um, the most well put out offer from either of the two teams was uh, Malik Monk and a future protected pick from Sacramento. I guess you can kind of say what you think about that. I will say one caveat that I have learned is they would have had to move on from one of Moody or Healed in a corresponding move, uh, because there were some restrictions that even I was not aware of, and I'm aware of a ton of this garbage. So yeah, what do you think about the Malik Monk and a future protected first for Kaminga?
I would have been all over that. I think for sure, like not even close. I think Kuminga is really good, but Monk is like coming off the bench as your dynamic guard. I think would be like really awesome because he's a guy that can also like stretch, like he can really shoot it from three, and he's also like amazing as a playmaker and as a scorer, like getting to the basket. And you get a first as well from that. Like, come on, that looked good to me.
Yeah, Jonathan Kaminga has his potential. He was pacing to be a pretty good player, but this past year he was kind of bad. Like his true shooting was 50%, 53%, which for context is lower than Brandon Pajemski, who couldn't make a three for the first 2 months of the season. If you look at just adjusted to the league, he was 7% below league average as an efficient scorer. And that's really rough for somebody who doesn't pass the ball and doesn't play well enough on defense. The years prior, Kaminga was pretty he was solid. He wasn't a lock-in starter player, but I understand seeing untapped potential with Jonathan Kaminga. I'm just not yet sure that he's a good player on a good team, because here's the thing with Jonathan Kaminga. A lot of people have always talked about, oh, when he gets, the chance, he'll be an Aaron Gordon type player or a Derek White type player, and he'll really impact a winning team. But my answer to that is why hasn't he done it yet? He's played on a ton of winning teams with a ton of players much better than he are that have proven to be able to impact, and elevate their teammate. I don't know if there's anybody who can hide defensive weaknesses of a player better than Draymond Green in the NBA currently. I guess Wemby. Wemby does, but you're not allowed to answer Wemby for any questions. Um, Steph Curry is like the Warriors can get away with playing like garbage players on offense and still have one of the better offenses in the league with Steph Curry. Like that's how good he was at his peak, and he's still pretty good, just close to that level. Um, like I just am struggling to see like if Jonathan Kuminga were to become like a role player type of player, how it wouldn't have been something that has already happened yet. I'll let you give your insight onto this side of things.
I do agree with you that he's had his opportunity for a little bit to make a dent. Uh, he's been here since 2021. Um, but he barely has. I mean, he hasn't gotten a lot of minutes, Pat. 16, 20, 26, 24, 24 minutes per game last season, and it just feels like Steve Kerr doesn't trust him. You know, so I think there's still a different side of Kuminga we haven't seen, and maybe now that they give him the contract, we get to see that unlocked a little bit. But I do definitely agree that we have been talking about this, like, oh, just wait. Once he gets playing time, it's been like that for the past like 3 years. So there definitely is uh, a lot of skepticism. Like, is he finally going to break out? I believe he can, especially if they give him a little bit more of a role. And I think that just Kerr has to trust him and let him do his thing because he could possibly play the role that Jimmy Butler did with the isolation scoring, getting to the basket and getting to the free throw line. But yeah, I don't know.
Here's my thing with him, like the role players who get big contracts. Emmanuel quickly like was a good player before he was given a huge contract. And that's why, like at the time it didn't seem that crazy because it was assumed that like, oh, the cap's going to keep going up and these aprons are a little Mickey Mouse and not actually that bad. Now that we have gotten an extra year or two with understanding the new cap environment, that quickly deal is not good. Um, but
Yeah.
that's the Raptors experience. Like, they're paying a dollar, or they're paying $1.20 on the dollar. So shout out to the Raptors. But like Emmanuel quickly like had similar minutes played throughout his early NBA career and like proved that he was somebody who did need to play. His third year he peaked with the Knicks at 29 minutes a game. Like uh, Kuminga was 26 in his third year. Like it just really struggled this year. I think he's fine, and like there is some more star potential to Kuminga than you'll typically see with players hitting restricted free agency. But like there's a reason he went to restricted free agency. Like he wanted a max going into last season, which ridiculous. Like he should not be getting paid as much money as Franz Wagner and even Scotty Barnes, who we talk about the 100 a buck 20 on the dollar. Like Scotty Barnes is way better than Jonathan Kuminga. So regardless, we'll see what this ends up being. What do you think the chances are that he's just on a different team?
I think if they're like middle of the pack, he goes. But if they're having like a really strong start to the season, I can see him staying.
Yeah, I could see if he's a part of their success that they're having.
Yeah.
I will 100% be trading him. So be on the lookout. I know your Wizards will need a,
No,
a
no, no. We're
shot
good. We
creator.
got Will Riley. We got Will Riley. We're all good.
But we would love Julian Champagny.
That's doable. That might be doable.
That's the correct Champagny, correct?
Yeah. I think the other one's Justin. Or maybe ours
Yeah.
is Justin. I don't know.
Why they give them the same like first initial, right? Like
That's
guys,
messed up.
you made it so
Messed
hard.
up.
Julian is no Julian's on the Spurs.
Yeah, okay. I thought it was Justin. Justin Champagne.
Yeah, we'll move forward to core questions. Do we think the Golden State Warriors improved this offseason?
Yeah, I'll say they did. I like the addition of Al Horford, and you lost Kevon Looney, and then you get Al Horford, who's not as big as a rebounder, but like he adds the shooting aspect, and he can still rebound and stretch the floor. So yeah, we'll go with that. I'll go with yeah, they improved.
I will as well. Al Horford's better than Kevon Looney, and I think that's pretty good. You get Melton, you get some other they got a no just Melton. You get Melton in there as well. Like that does help. And say that again.
Seth Curry.
Kind of. He's not really on the roster,
No,
so
I know, I know.
yeah. Seth Curry for the vibes, assistant coaching. Let's go.
He's
Um,
gonna get him a Jeff Teague.
let's go. It, did he not already have one? He might. I think he might have one.
Curry? No, no
I
way.
was. I mean, I know. Okay, so he does not have one. Okay, yeah, he was off
Yeah,
the Warriors by then. Okay,
was he? Got, he never was on the Warriors.
he was on their G League team, not on their real team. Never mind.
Yeah, they never played together before.
Well,
It'd be
let's
the
go.
first
Do we
time.
think they set themselves up better for the future?
I don't think so. I kind of talked about it in the contract or the SPO track part of the show. They only have like 2 years. It's a 2 year window before it's gonna be a completely different team. So they did not set themselves up for the future. I don't think so.
We didn't even mention. Uh, or no, they don't have anybody who's contract eligible right now. They didn't, overpay for Kaminga in free agency. They played their cards right, and now they have control over Kaminga. He's not making the qualifying offer. Um, Jonathan Kaminga did not turn down 24 million guaranteed, unlike uh, Cam Thomas did. Cam Thomas didn't have as much money guaranteed, but yeah, uh, Kaminga did the right thing by taking the guaranteed money and not killing his trade value. Um, let's go. And yeah, shout out to at least they handled it. Like it took way longer than it should have because the Warriors like their initial offer was like not much more than or not much less than what Kaminga ended up signing. His representation really pushed for him to get traded elsewhere to one of the awesome general management franchises of the Kings and the Suns. Uh, Not telling whatsoever that those were the two teams that wanted to give Kaminga 30 million a year in a starting role. Um, Offensive MVP for them is Wardell's Stephen Curry.
Yep, 100%. Expect him to have a big year again this season.
Defensive MVP.
I'm gonna go Draymond again. I think that I mean, he's what makes the defense work. His ability to just be so good, not only intelligently but actually go out there and do it. So yeah, Draymond Green.
Think so as well. X Factor, there's a couple answers. I could see a ton of them. Let's hear it.
Maybe the new acquisition, Al Horford. Can you go out there and knock down threes when you're asked to? Can you set screens and can you get boards? Because if you can, that just unlocks the Warriors' potential offensively. And also, if he plays good defense, I think that this could be a legit Warriors team.
I wasn't even thinking Al Horford as an answer. I think he's probably the biggest year-to-year difference maker for sure. And I guess that constitutes as an X Factor. Uh, I was gonna say Brandon Pajemski. He's gonna be their fifth starter. If the shot making can be his second half of the season, like that is a huge difference. I can pull up the month to month shooting because I think it was like he was like garbage for the first 2 months of the year. Yeah, in October he shot 21%. In November he shot 22%. Then he shot 42%, 45%. In February, he had a cold 30%, and then in March, he picked right back up at 44 and 48%. Keep in mind, this was a guy the Warriors wanting to have shoot like 10 threes a game going into last season. Kind of crazy expectations, but we didn't think it was that crazy when we heard it. And I could see, like, I don't know how many he ended up shooting on the year. I can quickly go back. He ended up shooting 4 a game or almost 5 a game. I mean, he could get up to 7 a game, and if he shoots close to 40%, he plays pretty good defense. He's got ancillary skills as a passer and rebounder. Like if the shot just gets better and he can do slightly more as an on-ball player on offense, that'll really alleviate the load from Steph Curry and Jimmy Butler in the regular season. And hopefully they'll be healthy in the playoffs, which is ultimately what the Warriors are playing for this season. And we'll see where we end up ranking them come next week, in 2 days for the people watching. You got anything else on the Warriors?
No, I'm definitely interested to see where I end up putting them because look after this episode, I think that this is going to be a pretty good starting five. So it's just going to be a question of how the bench is able to hold up. I think.
Yeah, I'm excited to take over reins as Warriors general manager. I think in about 2 weeks or so, we should be starting that up. Um,
I'm ready.
no,
I'm ready.
about a
I've been
month
grinding.
later than we originally intended, but you know,
Oh well.
yeah. Oh well.
Gotta wait for good things.
Yes, you do. Uh, Steph Curry had to wait 8 years before his ankles were able to hold up. Maybe it's probably closer to like 6, but yeah, still same thing. Um, Other than that, we will see you next episode. And the full 30 team predictions episode will have team superlatives, player superlatives, a couple award predictions. We'll do it slightly differently than we did it last year because we did both conferences in their own episode last season, and we're combining them this year. So we'll see how that ends up looking, and we'll see you guys then.